Actually, they manufactured 25 Big Boy locomotives for Union Pacific, 20 in 1941 and 5 in 1944.
Most of which were retired from service in 1961.
Yeah.
Back all of a sudden.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to whack me.
What, from here? It's only 30
a long distance roll-up. Yes. Morning, everybody.
Yeah. New build day. Yeah.
New build. Yeah. Yeah.
Gary's so excited.
I'm just maybe I like it. We'll see. We'll see how we get on. My biggest issue at the moment is the black plastic. I hate black plastic.
Tell that to
tell it to the heads. I have been dubious about a build before, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes, and we have a really clever thing called primer.
Whip it, Model T.
Yeah.
The other train we did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Bella Britain class.
Beer barrel Spitfire.
Beer barrel. Well, Spitfire. I wasn't dubious about doing it. I got dubious as I was doing it.
I would have done the Fokker as well. You did a biplane.
I did a biplane. I did do a biplane.
I found the wheels for my biplane the other day.
Oh, didn't know they're missing.
I thought I'd lost them. They were on my desk all along. You were just in between two things on my desk.
Two Belvitas.
No. I've got those silicon cups, haven't I? For putting water and stuff in.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They were stacked together and they were in between them.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yes. So, how are you two doing?
Very good. Very good. I walked the dog this morning. Marion was going to Pilates at 10, so she asked me to walk the dog, so took him for a drag around the local area.
Nice. John, have you been standing at the top of the hill laughing at all the peasants as they float around?
No. Like, it's fine. Like, is it raining now? Oh my God, it stopped for a minute. Yeah, but it's very wet where I am. Like, no word of a lie. We've so Dave Goldfinch, who's the podfather,
on the bench.
On the bench podcast, so Scale Model podcast. He's on his way up to Newcastle to save our miserable souls and help out with that. So no, it's quite wet.
So you have a moat now.
Say again.
You have a moat around your castle now.
Yeah.
No, he just has the dregs of the peasants that have washed up on his shore.
Part of Raymond Terrace. What is that? Your
to evacuate?
Oh yeah. Your Raymond Terrace. Yeah.
Yeah.
So will you be dragged off screaming and kicking?
Sorry?
Will you be dragged off screaming and kicking by the emergency services in a bit?
No. That's why we bought a house on a hill. So I could again laugh at the other peasants and stuff like that. But no.
Yeah. Just watch the bodies. Bodies washing up on your driveway and things.
Yeah. I almost said then.
There's riff raff off my lawn.
Yeah, I almost said then perhaps we should have done a ship build, but I stopped myself before I said something so stupid.
Oh wow. Yeah. So yeah.
And how are you, Mikey?
I'm all right. I've been running around after the kids, and Kay's not well, so I've been running around after her. Also making tomorrow's intro. I did that last night.
Yeah, so new build tomorrow as well.
Yeah. So I was doing that till about 3 o'clock this morning.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I was up at 8:30 to take Morgan's school. Yay. Because someone was poly sick. Yeah. Because someone was poly sick and forgot to get up and wake him up for school. So I had to do it very quickly in brisk military fashion.
I'll just show a very quick video. This isn't mine. This is a local MP, but she's a video of town. So
yeah.
So this is the river. quite a bit wider than what it is. So what you see in the middle there, those lines there they're those white bits are the handrails, the pier. Yeah, and you can see the sign is underwater, and it's wet.
Warning: risk of flood.
So much water. Yeah, it's mad. But the
Well,
bridge there is blocked at both ends. Yeah.
At least there's less chance of you having wildfires now, anyway.
Well, that's right.
Something about Australia,
you
isn't it?
Aussies
It's
love
not
your
one end
wildfire.
of the spectrum; it's the other.
Well, yeah. Apparently Melbourne and Adelaide are in drought. They're about to, they haven't had rain for quite a while, and it just won't stop raining here. But they're about 1,000 kilometres south.
Yeah.
Or about 2,000 kilometres west.
Just around the corner in Australia, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
We're 7 minutes in. Should we go through the chat?
Should we? I think we should.
See who's
I
in.
think we shall. Yes.
See who's in.
Gary Markham says, "Oh, there they are." Annyeonghaseyo, Manaseo, Bangawayo or something. I don't know. Hello, be well. Nice to meet you. There we go.
And to you, sir.
Panandara Cruiser. There we go. Gary says, "Good day." Hey?
Ecky thump, as they say in Lancashire.
Gary says, "Good day. How's you all going? I'm now live via satellite from Sydney, Australia. Haha! Arrived in Bankstown at 5 a.m. local time, 9 hours ahead of GMT. There we go.
Yeah, welcome back, Gary. I won't be driving down to Nowra. It's just not the best weather for driving, so you'll have to forgive me.
You might end up sort of sailing there.
Oh, there's aquaplaning, all sorts of stuff. Just don't want to risk it,
It's dangerous. Ian says, "Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you may be."
Hi, Ian.
He says, "He's just been in his late father's attic. My black t-shirt is now grey from dust. I've never seen so many Airfix train boxes. I didn't know they did trains back in the day. They did. They bought the molds for them from Rosebud Models. It was a company that existed in the 60s, but they only lasted about 6 years. Once they folded, Airfix bought the molds for the trains and everything, and they called it Airfix Rosebud kits. And then after they'd done a few runs of them, they stopped doing them. And then a few years ago, Dapol bought the molds off Airfix. There you go. So they're the same molds, it's just a different company.
Yeah.
There we go. And me and John enjoy them. I think Gary does too. He just doesn't like to admit it because it's geeky. And he's obviously the one that's down with the kids.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I like trains.
As approved yesterday with Jake.
David's in. He says, "Hello all, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are." I do like his Royal Artillery badge as well. That's cool. And he says, "Gary home for a holiday then?" Matthew says, "Hi everyone." Hello, Matthew.
You.
And he says, "Mikey, are you going to design a Big Boy pants for the merch store?" It's not a bad idea, actually.
Don't give him ideas.
Well, yeah. I've already got a couple more designs to put on there. Julian says, "Morning all." Hello, Julian.
Morning, Julian.
Matthew says, "Hi, Julian." Julian says, "Hi, Gary, Ian, David, Matthew. Lube and subscribe, please, everyone."
Yeah, lube and subscribe.
David says, "Hi, Julian." Julian says, "Are you going to design..."
I thought you said that.
"Are you going to design Big Boy pants for merch store?" That didn't take long, Matthew. Laugh out loud. And we're off. Matthew says, "Could have been worse. I could have suggested train at the front, tunnel at the rear."
Well.
Oh, dear. Dieter says, "Airfix did several train sets, but now left that mostly out of their range as Hornby fills in essence that slot. Yeah, I really enjoy the Dapple kits. I've got a few of the Airfix ones. I've got actually railway carriage to build as well. One of their railway carriages.
Oh dear.
With their locomotives and things. They're nice little kits. Dieter says, P.S. Took my X4014, aka his big boy, off my shelf and fixed her on the rails. For an old model, she still looks impressive. Yeah. Drew says, morning, Hagrid. Dieter, it's hard to believe that between 1946 and 1959, almost 40 of these behemoths were under states. 25 to be precise. Few now are left. Fewer still could be reactivated. An X4014 is one that no longer burns coal. Yes. There's only two of them running now. There's X4014 and X4006. And most of the time now, when they're going cross country, they have a diesel locomotive pushing them just to save the strain on them. Dieter says, still got to replace the tender on my model to reflect that. Yeah. One of the really cool things about them is they could pull a train that's 5 miles long and weighs over 4,500 tons. That's a lot.
You were having a go at John. You were having a go at John being a geek.
Yeah.
No, I was having a go at the fact that John sort of he ignores everything else and just carries on talking about the information.
Well, the first challenge is done.
Yeah. Insert.
Oh.
Very
what was
good.
the first challenge?
Getting part 2 onto part 1.
I see.
Pushing his
fair
hair
enough.
out the ball. Ian says, Ruffled Matthew, train at the front to a little bit. Drew says, on the other hand, Matthew, the big boy could be the rear end.
What have we created?
Ready to set the BBC Pedia pace. And he says, yep, as she could sport a coupler at the front too. One of the earliest runs of the reborn Big Boy was with a Challenger steam lock behind it using the same couplers. Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
June says, oh dear, the Big Boy has a tender behind. Oh, Julian. Deed says, yep, and some extra space in the caboose.
What was that?
Matthew says, I blame the panel. They picked the model. What did they expect?
Yeah.
Ruffle, good point, Matthew. It's all Mikey, Gary, and John's fault. Yeah, thanks, dude. Robert says, good morning, all. Or good morning, all. Finally made it to the start of a series. Now to listen to all the innuendos.
Oh, yeah.
David says, lol.
Innuendo bingo started here.
Joe, good morning, afternoon, evening. Hello, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Julie says, laugh out loud, Robert. Question is, who's endo? Oh, Julian.
Oh.
Good job, man. Kevin says, good day, everyone. Robert, notes Julian, Virago dispatched to Gary yesterday. Hope he has time to resend before cruising into the sunshine.
Ooh,
I'm sure he
sunshine.
will. Gary's pretty good, lad. Robert says, puts nose in air, supercilious, wouldn't know. Scott says, good day, everyone.
Hello, Scott.
Dave says, morning, Mikey, Gary, and John.
Morning to be
Oh, my God. We're still only on 2 minutes past 12 on the chat. TBG says, hi, everyone. Jim says, black is beautiful, Gary. Oh, dear. I'm not sure how to take that one. Jim says, greetings to our gracious hosts. Jim says, hello to all users in chat. Doing good morrow, young Mikey, and adults Gary and John. Thinks physically anyway. Ian says, morning, Jim. Jim, Ian. Hi, hello, Ian and Julian. Hi, James. Thanks, Rob. Julian Davis is in. He says, good day, chaps. Hello,
Hello,
Julian.
Oh,
Julian.
Julian.
Nice to see you.
Nice to
Welcome.
see you, buddy.
TBD says, what are the odds John puts the coupling rods on backwards?
Well, pretty high.
Can I just say, when we did the Battle of Britain class, I did that.
Oh,
So you won't be the first, John.
Jim says, no doubt the Marley moat would have all kinds of poisonous creatures in and about.
no.
Right.
Yeah.
I have.
Jim says, sings off key, high on hill was lonely goat turd. I might have misheard that lyric.
Slipped and fell on a lump of goat turd. I'm singing.
Lindsay
wrong here,
says,
sorry.
yes. Lindsay says, afternoon, guys. Hello,
Hi,
Lindsay. Skipping hellos to each other. TBG says, if the water gets any higher, John, you'll be wearing actual Crocs.
Salties.
That's clever. Yeah.
TBG says, Airfix GMR.
GMR.
Robert says, so will we see the Evening Star again? Yes. Dapol do the Evening Star kit. You can get them on Amazon or from a model shop that sells trinkets. But yeah, they got them on Amazon for about £15.
FG&B.
Martin Baggett says, hi, everyone. Hello, Martin.
Hello, Martin.
Hi, Martin.
Ian says, why am I 10 minutes behind? The video didn't start for me. I thought you guys were late, so left and came back. What the fuck? Thanks, YouTube. Not. Oh, bless you. Well, if needs be, we can always play the intro again and pretend we're restarting. TBD says, wait, they all like big boys?
Yeah.
Duke says, g'day, all you big boys.
This was not my idea to do this.
Dieter says, oh, she's a big boys, two of them. Jim says, speaking of trains, recently viewed a story about a very bad train wreck during the Great War at Quinton's Hill. Yeah, that was a bad one, Matt. I'll tell you about that once I've done the chat.
Okay.
Steve says, don't drop any parts on the floor, Gary. We have photo evidence of what that leads to.
Morning, Steve. Yeah, Steve is a member of our face-to-face group, and one of the other members dropped some parts on the floor. I went under the desk to get it. Steve managed to Photoshop a mankini onto me whilst I was.
I mean, that's funny, but also terrifying and traumatizing.
Yes, it is.
I'd be like looking at my dad in a mankini. Ugh. Creepy.
Morning, Steve.
Julie says, laugh out loud, Gary. I heard that version. Lady Sam's in. She says, hi, guys in chat.
Hello,
Lady
Sam.
Milady.
Yes. John has missed you.
Yeah, in aisle 4.
Yes. Underneath the Airfix kits. Julie says, Ian, YouTube is a pain in the what's it for doing that. It often doesn't bother refreshing when the live stream starts. Yeah. Dieter says, call it the 4884 and nobody bats an eye. Call it the Big Boy and everybody loses their minds. Yes. Because it has 4 steering wheels or guide wheels and then 2 sets of 8 drive wheels.
You can
and
only go where the track goes.
Trailing wheels. Julian says, laugh out loud, Hagrid. Jim says, greetings, Lady Sam. Julian says, evening, Lady Sam. And Lady Sam says, John, you should build the Big Boy locomotive in brick. It's over... What?
1.5 meters long.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that Lego copy, is it?
Yeah, must be.
Oh.
There you go. Right, I can start mine now. Yeah.
John, have you got to part 2 yet?
Yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah. What about it?
What's your thoughts on it?
I'm not going to put it on yet.
Right, I've put mine in, but I haven't glued it in, and I was thinking there's some detailing to do on that.
All right, so this is from the YouTube page.
Oh my good grief!
I know. There's a crazy lot of valves, and if that boiler face, whatever you want to call it, stays in place now, you've got to paint. It looks like green on the sides of the cab and stuff. Yeah. I would not do the boiler in place yet. You wouldn't reach it.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Lady Sam says, John, you didn't contact me about Frontline Hobbies last Friday.
I went to a funeral of a friend down, closer to you, down, what do they call that? Orimba, Palmdale. One of the guys in our model club. So I was busy on Friday.
Yes, putting people in the ground.
I think what I'm going to have to do here is prime that and then detail it up before it goes in.
Yeah,
that would be sensible.
But with that in mind, now then here. Then now.
Dieter says, Sam. Dieter says, Sam, stop making me drool. Nia and I want one. What? John? Or Gary in his mankini? Or what? Robert says, dropping part. Has anyone invented a vacuum cleaner with AI to separate bits from junk? That would be cool.
Oh.
Jim says, my late brother was a train and rail fan. Big Boy was created, I believe, to haul massive freight trains over and through the Rockies during World War II. Yeah. The Sasquatch Mountains or something, whatever it's called.
Saskatchewan?
That's the one. So it used to pull the train 5 miles long. And it could pull it at 70 miles an hour on flat ground. It's that powerful. Over 6,000 pounds.
Trouble is, no one invented a station with a 5 mile long platform.
Mind you, if they're all sort of not passengers and stuff like that, like the coal trains here from inland that they take to the ports to put it on a boat and send it all to China. They're crazy long as well. I have, I call them, when they're full, I call them Cole Porter because I'm hilarious. And when they're empty going the other way, I call them Robbie Coltrane because I'm even funnier.
Yeah.
Now, if we're not doing, part 2 into the cab, the boiler, then we can't do step 3, putting the underside on either.
No.
So I think we're going to have to start and paint the boiler. The controls before we do anything else.
You could always do the bogies.
Yeah.
Skip to step. Well, you can actually skip to step 4 because you put in all the ancillaries on it.
Yeah, it might be what we have to do.
Yeah. Lady Sam says, was it Lee's funeral at Palmdale?
No, it was Hooch Dean de Friskbaum. It was a ex-gunny in the Royal Australian Air Force. A hell of a nice guy, and he'll be missed. He had a heart attack.
Ew.
Not sure of his age, but he was quite young, probably about my age, really. Maybe younger than 60, we'll say, as a guess.
Yeah.
Crikey, blimey!
Yeah, this is going to be a long model, isn't it? Right.
I know I've done stuff.
Paul says, Evsina. Lady Sam says, John, I'm going to send a photo to show.
Okay.
As long as it's family friendly. Junior says, yes, it's called a stocking over the end of the vacuum cleaner tube. Yeah, that's what I did. Dee says, Mikey, for shame. The Lego version of the Big Boy. Where are you with your mind, you dirty sod? Haha. June says, Mikey, I think Hagrid meant the Lego Loco. Robert says, oh no, I'm not joining the stocking brigade. Would tights do? whatever you have to hand, Robert.
Whatever you have on hand. Yes.
Yeah. Just make sure your wife's not wearing them at the time.
Staying well out of this conversation.
Dieter says, yeah, the big boys were meant for freight only, coal or raw materials. And when they tested the first lock, they had so much power to boot, they rarely needed to be coupled with extra engines. Yeah. The only reason they do it now is so that they're not running it under strain, so they can preserve it for longer. Go for it. Paintings in. He says, hello. Hello, go for it.
Hello, go for it. Go.
Wait, Rose is in. He says, good afternoon, troops.
Afternoon, Commander.
Hello, Gary.
Sausages were a bit underdone this morning, sir.
Yeah. Dieter says the diesel engine, the 4014 and the 4006 only serve as extra power sources for the brakes, by the way. Big Boy usually handles the pulling still quite well. Yeah. Go for it says, hi, Julian. Hi, Gary. And hi, all. Hello. Go for it.
Ah, there it is.
Ian says, hi, Gary. To Wait Rose, I imagine.
Take it, then.
June says,
Mr. Evans.
Yes. GMTA said, Hagrid, terrible, isn't it? Mikey is such a bad influence on us. I was innocent before I came here. And if you believe that, I have a nice bridge to sell you.
Oh, I like bridges. Yeah, I'm going to jump ahead to step 6, I think, and start working on the bogies and everything else because, you know, I can't really do the cabin until I paint that up because it's still very black. But yeah, it's just 3 pieces in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the floor and the boiler and the cab. Yeah. But that'll wait. So step 6 onwards.
Paul says, I used to hate the 9:15 coal train to Sydney, the past Woi Woi. Woi Woi.
Woi Woi.
You have some wonderful names, don't you, in Australia? Places.
Yeah, that's where Spike Milligan used to live after he moved to Australia. It's down the road at Central Coast. It's near where Sam is.
Jim says, my region of the Midwest is a massive rail hub that connects east and west. I see massive bloody long freight trains pass through often. Some have 5 to 6 locomotives hauling them. Yeah. They do like them large in America. Aussie Ian's in. He says, good evening, all. Hello, Aussie Ian.
Hello, Ian.
Jim says, hello, Paul. Ian.
God, blimey.
What's going on here? Hang
on. Just for Ian's benefit, I just literally got this out of the bin just now. I didn't make the meeting last week, but this is the prop's broken off, but you get the idea. This is Hooch's memorial build. Prop goes on there. Haven't weathered it or whatever. I didn't get to the meeting. I had to. I went to Sydney with my family, so I'm not going to finish that. It's just not going to. I'm not going to keep it.
Yeah.
Also, throwing out some camels.
Yay!
Because I need room.
Jim says hello, Paul and Ian. Ian says hi, Aussie Ian. Paul says evening, Jim. Gopher says hi, Ian. Aussie Ian says, John, I think someone at the club said Hooch was around 54.
Ah. So younger than me then. Jesus.
Now, you're not going to start going into a midlife crisis over that, are you?
No.
That's kind of what happened to my dad, because his cousin was the same age as him, and he died when they were in the 40s. And he sort of went, life's too short, I'm going to buy a motorbike. And then he turned around to me and says, I've got my redundancy. Do you want to learn how to ride a motorbike as well? I'll pay for you to do your lessons. I'll get you a motorbike. I was like, okay. Go for it. Says, hi, Paul. Dieter says, standard pulling configuration, big boy, fuel, water tender, water tender, diesel engine, fuel tender, and only then you get the load. So it's already a long line before that. Yes. Paul says, hi, Daniel. Drew says, afternoon, Commander Evans. Ian says, I'm back as in live. There you go. Tiff says, hi, folks, just checking in. Hello, Tiffers.
Hi, Tiff.
Hi, Tiff.
Jim says, Gary, sorry, sir, the toast wasn't buttered enough and the coffee was on the weak side. Ian says, hi to Tiff. June says, there has to be a joke about the big boy and pulling. Disappointed in myself that I can't think of it. Oh, wow. We've got 27 people watching now. Don't forget to lube and subscribe.
Yeah.
So this is Lady Sam sent this photo in. This is the one made of brick.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That's cool.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That is cool.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
See, another
Also,
reason I don't
evening
like
sound.
black. Another reason I don't like black plastic is because I find it hard to read the part numbers.
Yeah, true.
That is not part 4. What the is going on?
Dieter says in Australia there are 7-mile long slow moving one ore train, 4 diesels in the front, 3 in the middle, and 3 more in the rear at 28 miles an hour, sneaking her way around. Yeah. There's less emphasis on railways in Australia, though, isn't there? Because you have the road trains as well.
Well, we do, but of course, we've got lots of, say, this is iron ore mining and all that sort of stuff. Massive operations over in Western Australia and other places. But we have, they have significantly large, like the dedicated lines for the coal trains here don't interfere with the passenger trains or whatever, but they're constantly, every time you go for a drive, you see one of them going one way or the other. It's pretty insane. It just never stops.
Wow, I've got to catch up with chat already.
Sure.
Jim says, hi, Ian. Paul says, Ian, Julian. Go for it. Hi, Jim. Timmy says, bit late. Hi, all.
Timmy!
Good news about your sister's birth of a lovely baby.
Yeah, congratulations to her.
That happened, a couple of hours ago. Beautiful baby boy.
Did it float away down the river? Was it while she was on a lifeboat or something?
No, she's down in Melbourne, so where they have no rain.
Lady Sam says, hi, Paul. Haven't floated away. Deed says, the brick version even comes with the option of lighting. Now, that is cool.
Wow.
Kevin says, had a choice of either the big boy or 1/350th Prince of Wales, the latter one. Yeah, good. It's cool. We've got the I think it's 1/350th Bismarck in my local bottle shop. I was like, I still want to get it, but it's 70 quid. And it'd just be huge.
It's not. I've got it here. I can show you if you want to see how big it is.
Yeah. Show me.
Yeah, I'll be back in a sec. I'll just grab it.
It's a shit.
Tiff says, my mum says hi to. Hello.
Oh.
It's nice to meet you yesterday. Dave says, hi, Tiff's mum.
Tiff's mum.
Hi, your mum, Tiff.
You better be on our best behaviour then if Tiff's mum's in.
Yeah. There you go. Jim says, go over the part numbers with a white paint marker or something similar, Gary.
Yeah, I could do that.
Go for it. It says, hi, Lady Sam. Dieter says, yep, Jim, do that too so I can read them. Good suggestion.
Yeah, I may do that. As I have a white marker pack. I'm going to do that now.
Ian says, so people like trains more than bikes, or YouTube does? Well, who knows? Maybe.
There you go. It doesn't take up much room at all.
Yeah. Until you turn it sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's really awesome on my bookshelf.
I can see the shelf above me wobbling in trepidation already.
Marley, watch them symbols on top, mate. YouTube don't like them.
Those ones?
Yeah. YouTube algorithms don't like them.
Well, there's not much I can do with that. But yeah, so It's long, but it's thin, so you can literally put it anywhere. I love building it. Oh shit! Here, bit mate.
Moving on swiftly.
Bro,
Sorry, Tiff's mum.
Get that symbol off the screen. God. Jim says, Kevin, good choice, Kevin. I do the same. Yeah, YouTube takes videos down for putting that symbol up.
Let's find out.
I do the same. Paul says, I bought the Big Boy kit for my ex-wife's partner because he was a your thoughts here. Someone with a 12-inch. Who knows? Lady Sam says, I go for it. And hi, Jim and Julian. Julian says, good idea, Jim, or just dry brush them in white. Yeah. He says, Paul, he needed something to boost his ego. Paul says, no, Julian, he was just a dick. Jim says, Bismarck was a beautiful ship. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was.
Scott says, my brother, because of the floods in New South Wales, is driving a road train from Melbourne to Brisbane, starting on Saturday when he gets off the boat. Bloody hell.
Well, yeah,
they're not allowed.
Well, the highway's blocked at Tari and it won't be open for probably a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You know.
There used to be a TV program about the Australian truckers, outback truckers. We used to have it over here and watch it. Go for it says, cool model. DP with baby cakes says, I came in at the right time. Someone with the initials for double penetration saying, I came in at the right time on a build that's called the Big Boy build is not good.
I keep saying it's only kinky the first time.
Yes.
I don't know
David says, John, that's a good ship. I mean, there you go.
Ah, thank you.
DP says, hi, everyone. Hello, DP. Not seen you for a while.
Hi, DP.
Paul says, you can put it anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just hi, DP. Robert says, odd that symbol was used in England on saving stamps. Yeah. DP says, hi, go for it. Lady Sam says, guys, is that the Revell model? I have that. I've heard that it's a shocker to put together. Yeah, it's the Revell.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
We don't want to tell Gary. We like to give him a challenge. We like watching him pull what's left of his hair out. Jim says, DP, hope all is well. Julie says, Paul, when I worked in IT support, our email default was initial surname, problem for Richard's soul. Laugh aloud. There you go. Laughing. Lady Sam says, off-road trucks. Hi. And Deep says, I am worried about the mindset or absence of one among the panel members today. They are so easily digressing. June says, you can put it anywhere. I do hope we're still talking about the ship.
Oh, for God's sake, can we? That's right. Let's get all the schoolboy giggling out the way now.
Teehee. Teehee.
Yeah. So I was going to tell you about Quinton's Hill, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Yes, you were.
Yes. Right. So Quinton's Hill was in May 1915. There was a troop train carrying a Scottish battalion down from Scotland to go down to obviously Dover and stuff to get the ship over to France. Now, the two guys that they took it in turns operating the signal box. The guy that was coming on was late, and they had sort of an arrangement with each other. Rather than him coming in, getting the really early training and being tired, and then having to sit around for an hour, he would get the later train that was like an hour later or whatever than what he should have started. And the guy who was doing the night would write the notes on a piece of paper for that hour so that he could copy them into the logbook when he got in, which is completely illegal at the time, but that's what he used to do. He came in late, and the guy on the night shift hadn't told him that he'd put a slow train, passenger train, into the siding, and then they had another train come in, and they didn't realize that it was stopped waiting. And next minute, the fast train, because troop trains always took priority. Next thing they knew, the troop train went straight into the back of the other train at full speed. And
Ben, shut up.
All the carriages, or most of the carriages back then, because it was a troop train, all the carriages were made of wood. So, and they had the gas heaters on and things like that. And as soon as they impacted, the carriages all burst into flames. And loads of the passengers on the first train and the soldiers were burnt alive. It was that bad that one of the officers, because they knew it was going to be a while till they got help and there was no way they were going to survive, he was actually going around some of the soldiers who were really seriously very badly burned, and he was actually doing mercy killings on them.
Wow.
Because things were that bad. And it was the army deemed it that bad of an incident, and with the soldiers that were survived were that traumatized that, except from the officers, all the soldiers were told, "You're not to be. We're not going to deploy you. We're going to send you back to Scotland." So they actually stopped the deployment because they were that traumatized. Some of the remains, some people's remains were never found because they were that badly burned. And the soldiers that were killed were taken back to Scotland and obviously buried. And they had a funeral for the passengers' remains that they found, but one was so badly burned that they didn't know who it was, obviously, and all they had was the size to go off. So they said remains of a presumed to be of a child, because it was that burnt. They didn't know whether the body had shrunk in the heat or it was an actual child. So it was quite horrific, and it ended up the two guys in the signal box, because they've been breaking the law and all this, they ended up going to prison over it. But when they came out of prison, they were given jobs back on the railway. They just weren't allowed to operate signal boxes anymore.
Well, there you go. Right, I'm going to be back in a second.
Yeah.
Right.
2 secs.
He said
quite
on it.
Yeah, there we go. Right. Where did we get to? On a lighter note. Jim says DP how's life on the west coast. Dieter says I built the Revell Tirpitz and Bismarck, loved it. Comes along with railing. Next built the Tamir versions and was less thrilled. My word, that was awkward. Duke's giggling. Dieter says giggity giggly. Aaron Ville's in. He says hello all. It's cloudy a bit in Norwich, Norfolk, with sunny bits sitting outside. What scale is it? This is 187 scale. So
187.
Yeah. It's American scale.
And the kit's from 2003, from what I read on Scale Mates.
Yeah. The front of the boiler's a tight fit, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yep. You'll get it.
Yeah, I just need to sand some bits down. Duke says, "Ooh, wait, giggle." Ian says, "Yes, Mr. Morris. Sorry, Mr. Morris, not." Dieter says, "Big Boy is HO scale or 187. No, it's HO gauge or 187 scale." Well, yeah, HO scale. Yeah, double
And
O
I'm back
gauge.
in the room.
Yay!
They're both 16.3 millimeter gauge. 187. The scale is different. Yeah. HO stands for half O. June says, "Good news, Gary. We're probably using all the material today. Probably."
16.
DP says, "It's been hot, Jim. I'm not a fan of the heat. How about you?" Yes, it's been nice and cool here today. It's 12 degrees. So nice.
Well,
Bloody freezing here today.
Duke says, "I'm done now." Oh no, I'm not. Giggle, giggle. Dieter, about Bismarck, she sported the insignia and Baltic camo only until she got to Bergen in Norway. It was then painted over rapidly before sailing for the Denmark Straits. There you go. It says, "Be right back."
Which was a complete waste of time because as we, yes, Benji is about.
Yeah. David says, "Yes, Mikey, it was absolutely tragic." Yeah, it was.
Here's a fun fact about these stripes on the Bismarck, right?
Right.
They were only on during the Baltic sort of the sea trials, if you like. So they were on the ship for I think 36 days only, and then they were painted over. It took me longer to paint them on this model than what they were on the actual ship. Yeah.
So,
but
just to put into perspective, how. Sorry, go on, John.
Yeah, it's amazing how a lot of people don't. It was difficult to do because just trying to get them all to line up and everything else. But it looks fantastic. I think just it's unique.
Yeah. So as I was going to say, just to put it into perspective, how tragic Quinton's Hill was. 227 people died in the accident.
Oh.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, just like, well, we're not going to send you, we're going to send you back to Scotland. Get back on another train. And then, just like, that made me think of like I may have mentioned before, like, I was part of the crew that was doing the search for MH370 over in Perth. And then a couple of weeks after that, we were there for 3 weeks. And then we had a week back on base. And then we went to Butterworth in Malaysia for 3 weeks. I think we were doing it was an operation there called Gateway. And we had a problem with the aircraft. We needed a replacement engine, but there was no Hercs available due to other things and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to take about 5 days or so for us to get an engine.
Yeah.
So we were just going to have a couple of days off, but we had 1 day, and then they said, "Oh, look, you guys have been worked to the bone. Like you're all very tired because of the MH370 SAR. So we'll send you home. Everyone, we booked a civilian flight for you because we couldn't get a C-17." So they booked a Malaysian Airlines flight, and all of us are just going, "Yeah, no, we really don't want to do it," because that's around about the time that MH17 disappeared over Ukraine as well, from memory. I can't remember, but we were just like, "No, we don't want to fly on that plane."
Quite close together, weren't they? Those two incidents.
Yeah.
Well, I've just done section 6 with no glue whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because those wheels, the two wheels that you have to assemble, the fit is so tight.
It's a press fit, yeah.
It doesn't need glue.
To be fair, it does seem to be fitting really well.
Shh.
Dieter says, or the original Firth of Forth Bridge. Yeah. ACF says, "Wishing yourself, Mikey, and everyone a lovely afternoon." Hey, ACF Nugget.
Hello, mate.
How are you doing?
Thank you.
Aaronville says 187. That's HO scale, same as Minotaur Wonderland in Hamburg. Yeah.
Now Miniature Wonderland in Hamburg has a fantastic airport setup. They even have the Millennium Falcon landing there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the place that's got like all the miniature cities and stuff?
Yeah.
I might have been there when I was a teenager. It was cool. So we went to somewhere like that. Jim says, DP with baby cakes. We have been under some very cool and cloudy weather since Monday. My kind of weather. There we go. David says it's 21 here in the Rhondda. Bit windy, but sunny. In the Rhondda. Dieter says, yes, when Bismarck left to Bergen, the superstructure camera was already gone. There you go. Dorcosaurus he says, good morning, afternoon. Dorcosaurus, hello.
Dorcosaurus. Well.
Got a full house.
Paul says, evening. Yeah, evening, Dorca. Well, we've got 29 people watching.
Amazing.
Ian says, hi, Dorca. Dean says, talk about camo. Go on.
29 people watching a bloke who knows nothing about trains build a train.
Yeah. Dieter says, talk about camo. Tirpitz had more camo schemes than she served at sea by comparison, with the Splinter one being the best known. There are 3 variations as well. There we go. Jim says, Dorcosaurus, good morning to you. Gary Markham says, there you all are. Hello, finally, got satellite signal. Must be in Sydney. Nothing works properly here. How are we all? Hello, Gary.
Fighting words.
ACF Nugget says, doing okay, just recovering from a little virus that's laid me low. Nothing serious, just being a bit under the weather. Hope you feel better soon, dude. Dieter says, Miniature Wonderland is on my bucket list with Nia and me, eager to go. Swing by Bremen for the Type 21 submarine. Nice.
Was it the Graf Spee that was on one side it was painted up as the Graf Spee and on the other side it was painted up as the Prince Eugen to confuse?
Ooh. I don't know.
Probably.
Sure, right. Something along those lines.
Something along those lines.
Here we are building a train and talking about ships.
Yeah.
Why doesn't that surprise me? David says, have seen some cool videos of that model. Joe says, whether us two, Jim, well, at least for the last 12 hours, back to over 90 tomorrow. Julie says, afternoon, Dorcosaurus. Is it 2 hours already? La Carolina's in, saying, hell, what's the scale? It's 187. Joe says, yes, you have all convinced me to not build a effing train. Thank you.
Yeah. I would say I went into this build somewhat wondering what it was going to be like, to be polite, and so far it has not inspired me very much. I think the plastic is horrible.
Oh God, whinge. Like an old woman.
Yes, but it's the challenge. It's what we can do with it.
Yes.
Chuck it on the bin. No.
Well, I have said to you before, with trains, the joy is in the detailing of things. I mean, I enjoy building them as well, but
I say the joy is starting something else.
I'm just such a pessimist. Julie says hi, Nugget, and hi, Carolina.
Me too.
DP says hi, Dorca. Nugget says, Julian, always great to see you. Dieter, Gary, that was the Admiral Shear and the Lutzo. Graspberry did change her name, did change her appearance though, to look like a cruiser of a French British American with a fake 3D gun turret and such. There we go.
That's correct. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for.
DP says 31 degrees C, 87 Fahrenheit here today. Wow, that's hot. We might get that like one day a year.
Oh no, well that's a lot of days where I am. Yeah, in summer, it's not summer at the moment.
Because everything, including the weather, wants to kill you there. Junior says, "You too, Nugget. Glad you're feeling better now." Robert says, "Still got to pluck up the courage to start my 172nd Revell Corvette. The ship, not the car." Oh, that's huge.
We were talking before we went live, me and John. I think Mikey was doing his mandatory 5 minutes to go. Oh, I'll go and make a cup of tea. I've got a couple of kits that I want to build for myself in the stash. One being that Meng F-35. But I've also got a 172nd North American B-25CD Mitchell, which would be a nice build. So, and I've also got a 148th German motorcycle.
Oh, I've got one of
that. John Mayfield twisted my arm not to buy in when we were at the NEC the other day.
Is that the Tamir one with the signpost and that?
I'll show you which one it is. Ooh, because I can see it. It's that one.
Oh, right, cool.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Cool.
But I thought I might do that with some 148th armour as a little diorama.
An armour diorama.
Right, so.
Get in, you swine.
That's what she said. 5521.
That kind of helps.
24.
Jim, that tip of yours about highlighting with white, absolutely brilliant, mate. Well done.
Paul says, "Now you know why I bought it for my ex-wife's partner." Haha. David says, "I think our longest loco is the Bay Garrett." Possibly, yeah. Dieter says, "I have the Big Boy and 4 more German BR locomotives and saving for 2 135 monsters of the BR-52 type to pull the Dora railgun that I'm doing." Nice.
Oh, you got the Dora. Very nice.
I've got a 135 16.5 ton flatbed thing.
That one.
I got that to put the whippet on. It's a World War One.
The whippet. Whip it real good.
I just need to get around to doing it. Junior says, "You're like an old woman." Well, Gary's got one out of the two, Mikey. David says that was
What? What have I done now?
David says that was a pro trade on the film Battle of the River Plate.
Good film, that. What time is it, number one? We'll open the gin.
David says, "Correct, David, and funny enough, Grassbury was played by an American light cruiser that is still there, whereas the British ships were actual vessels." There we go.
Yes.
And Ian says, "With the current trend in 1/16th vehicles being released, I would like to see some 1/16th World War II motorcycles." That'd be a nice sight.
It'll be a lovely build, but I just couldn't. I don't know where to put it.
But you think about it, that motorbike I'm building on Tuesdays, that's 1/12th.
I think I remember Don Pedro building a BMW with sidecar at 1/16. So maybe there is a kit. I don't know. I've not done it.
57.
Which is I shall catch up with the chat in a bit. One thing I'm not keen on with this sprue is it's very easy for bits to sort of become detached.
Yes, it's self-removing sprue gates and.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't got that problem.
Oh, I took this out of the bag and loads of bits dropped off. 23.
I'm trying to find part 4.
The plastic is quite soft as well.
There's 3. Where's 4?
But hey, it's not an old. No, hang on. It's not a new kit, is it?
2003.
Is it really? I suppose that's 22 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah. So looking at scale mates, it's not been re-released or anything. It's only been the one release, and they continue to release it, but it hasn't been reboxed or anything at all.
Nice. LWM modeling's in. They say, love doing this model. The finished loco is a real sight. Nice. And welcome to the channel.
Welcome. Look at that.
There we go.
And again,
timeline.
Not one piece of glue, not one bit of glue used on that. So all that moaning I've done, actually. Oh well.
There it is. Are you slowly conceding, Gary?
No. Sorry, did you want me to think about that before I answered?
See, you said all this last time, and then about a week later, you sat there looking at the train.
I always do.
I really like that.
I always do, because at the end of the day, it's just plastic.
Yeah.
Just bits of plastic being glued together by a grumpy old man.
Well, yeah, that's true. LWM says, I had to order 4 parts from Revell to replace broken bits out of the box. Yeah. Hopefully I should be okay, as long as I don't lose any bits.
Now,
I've
done part... Go on.
No, go on.
So I've done part 6 and 7.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to do part 8 yet.
Okay.
Because I need to paint the wheels.
Yes.
So that means if I can't do part 8, I can't do part 9. This doesn't lend itself to modular, does it?
Yeah, no, you'd have to jump to...
I can't do 10, 11, 12, 13.
You'd have to jump to step 15. But then you can only do 15, you can't do 16.
Well, I've done I'm on part 6 now. I've done 1, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
But I'm going through the comments, so you've got no excuse. Junior says, Robert, is that Corvette the Revell Flower Class HMCS Snowberry, item number 05132? My step granddad was on a flower class Corvette, I think.
There you go.
Flower class? Oh no, I think it might be another one, but it was Corvette.
Right.
Paul says, my current build is a 124 scale Airfix Merlin into a 125 AMT Mustang car. Ooh. That's cool.
Right. That is interesting.
Jim says, Ian, Aussie Ian, yes, that would be a great idea. Quite a few motorcycles employed by combatant nations during the war. Yeah. David just finished the Mosquito, though. Not happy with the painting of the canopy, but looks okay from a distance. We'll put finishing touch pics in Discord later. Excellent.
I do love a Mozzie.
Yes.
Steve, who was on earlier, Steve, I don't know whether Steve's still with us. Steve Paul, he's doing a 124th Mozzie. And he's the guy that has designed and 3D printed the Mullins gun to go underneath it. He was at Telford. We displayed it on Friends of Models Heroes, and that's amazing. He's also doing he only builds 124th. He's also doing the 124th Airfix Typhoon.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Oh, he's done an amazing job on that. Amazing job.
Excellent. Robert says, Julian, almost 05112, the platinum version with the added photo edge. There we go.
Mad.
And Robert says, still not found anywhere that does photo etch practice stuff. Dug out an old metal earth kit for practice metal working. Oh, apparently Waitrose is sending me one of them.
I think, John, you're right. I think after stage 7, you've got to go to stage 15.
Yeah.
This could be a very confusing build.
It's a challenge. I really like a challenge.
Double prizes.
Double prizes.
I think because I think I will continue on step 8, 9, and I just put them all together because the whole thing's going to be black, and then I can pick out details later on.
Yeah, man.
You reckon?
Well, that's just the way I think I'll do it, because otherwise, we can do 2 lots of these bogies, and then that's sort of it until everything else is painted. Which we could do, because what have we got left? We've got 50 minutes left for this stream. There is enough you could stick together, little details that go on the. You could do the 10. You could jump around.
Yeah.
Jump around. Oh no, I can't see.
Maybe it would be a benefit to leave it, as you say, and paint it in between this and the next sesh.
Yeah.
And then assemble it next week. Yeah, you're right. I'll jump ahead and go to step 15, like you're doing.
Can we just timestamp this moment? Then when John said, "I'm right."
Yeah, this is what I think the second time in
history.
What did we work out? This was how many hours did you say we had done? Was it?
It was about 240 in it, so it's about 480 hours.
480 hours, and he's been right twice. I'll tell you what.
For me, that's a good return.
Yeah.
It's a good batting average for Gary.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah. So I am going to do what I said I was going to do. 57 and 23.
Yeah.
Where's 23?
It's raining again.
Where did we get up to?
It's
Mikey, do you have to remember the ship's name? I'd have to look it up. I have got it written down somewhere because I bought my stepdad a magazine that had an article about it from like the 70s or something. Because he didn't have any information on it, so I got him that for Christmas. Scott says, and Paul almost got a Spitfire 172nd canopy with the Merlin. Nice. Robert says, 124th Mosquito, also intimidating. The box is lurking in the corner, too big for my shells. That'd be big. 124th Mosquito.
Yeah. It's a beautiful aircraft, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was.
23. It certainly was, Stanley.
Paul says, no Scott, no canopy in the package. Ian says, careful, Gary, don't jump up and get down.
Yeah.
DG says,
nearly in trouble of singing, man. Nearly singing.
DVD says, I come back from gardening and John goes forwards. What the hell? Paul says, Robert Harris, I was always scared of building the 124th Mozzie, but I built a 132nd B24. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That is big. That's what she said.
I was just going to do that. You just the joke out of my mouth. That didn't sound right.
Oh, you're not helping yourself, Gary.
I know I'm not. Right.
Paul says, evening, James. TVG says, I think the Mozzie box was the same size as the Hellcat box. There we go.
That doesn't have a number on it. Thank you, Revell.
So which one? One of the wheels?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So you're looking at the one next to the tracks, yeah?
I'm trying to find wheel number 21.
Okay.
Oh, I found it.
Yep.
It's because I know they try and have. I know these companies have to maximize the space they've got on the sprues. But to have 23 over one side of the sprue and 24 over the other side of the sprue.
Whinge.
I am a grumpy old man.
It's like a Harry Enfield sketch.
You in a minute, I'll be going into full. I don't believe it.
Do you know what song is stuck in my head? The Lonely Goat Herd, because it was mentioned at the top of the show, and I can't stop singing it to myself.
High on a hill lived a lonely goat herd. Yodel-iddle, yodel-iddle, yo, hoo hoo.
The one that's stuck in my head is always look on the bright side of life. I think that's a sign that I'm getting depressed of working with YouTube for over a year.
The one that sticks in my mind is I can't get you out of my head.
Oh well. I'm confused as to why you're thinking about that whilst talking to me and John.
By probably the best thing ever to come out of Australia.
Other than Marley?
Other than Marley.
Oh, the black box?
The goddess that is Kylie Minogue.
Oh. TBD says, Ian and Paul. Gary says, must be in Sydney. Everyone's on the net and it's slow. Rain is bucketing down here, but I do have a packet of Tim Tams. Ta-da!
Very good.
Tim Tam.
Jim went to school with Tim Tam.
Paul says, everybody stop looking. He found it.
Okay.
Lovely.
It wasn't. I didn't find it, so obviously you found it. So
LWM says, been watching a Dora railgun build. I'm really tempted to get one, but they're huge, and I don't know where the finished article go. Yeah, they do look like a beautiful kit, to be fair.
There's a 35th scale one in one of the cabinets at Frontline. It looks wonderful.
Blood and thunder.
Julian says, you're welcome, John. TBG says, it's called getting the quartering right. Oh, dear.
That's 56.
That's correct.
56.
Scott says, yes, he opened it to find it was a package right before he sent it, Paul. TBG saying hi to LWM. LWM saying hi, TBG. Julian says, I can't get you out of my head on a stream about the big boy. That's not at all worrying, Gary.
Oh, you know.
DP says, good day, Scott. There we go. Right.
So that leaves 2 wheels. No.
He's winning again.
No. I'm supposed to have 2 wheels left, and I only had 1.
So you thought?
That's because one had detached itself. So I do believe this is the correct one.
Right.
Hey, our face-to-face group, we're going on a Jolly Boys day out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We're gonna go to the Royal Air Force Museum at Cosford.
Oh, that's
Nice.
just down the road from you. What is it, 20 minutes away?
Less than that.
Wow.
It's 8
I
miles.
thought you were going to say you're going to Centre Parks or something.
No, we're going to have a Jolly Boys day out.
You could go to the Legion.
The Legion, as in the British Legion.
No, the Foreign Legion. What do you think of it?
I don't know. It sounded like a
I don't know.
strip club
Gary's
to me. I
joining
don't
the
know.
Foreign Legion, everyone.
Have you seen Carry On Up, Follow That Camel?
Jim says, hi, Scott. Robert says, Kylie, come into my world. Very clever music video. Scott says, hi, baby cakes. Robert says, actually has a Volvo 144 in it. I got one from that. Ooh. TBD says, thank God Tiff isn't on stream. Anti-Modmin and the big boys. The big bearded gentleman. Julian says, meet Thomas the Tank Engine's grumpy cousin, Gustav the Railway Gun. Yeah. Or Gary the Railway Gun.
Gary
Paul
the Fat
says,
Controller.
you said it, not us.
Well, I just got it in there before you did.
Oh, God. That's what she said?
Which is what something else that she said. Yeah.
Paul says, Frontline Hobbies. The last time I went there was for 3 bottles of paint, left with $400 worth of kits.
Was there a strange silver-haired gentleman hanging around aisle 3?
Oh, he was there earlier today. Very
Was he
suspect
peeking out
indeed.
between some Airfix boxes?
Right. Let's just hope I've done that right.
I think we're going to have a lot of priming spraying to do off camera.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of work off camera.
Yeah. Right. Blue tack.
So where's the paint call out on this? Is it the front or
Well,
the back? Of the
bear in mind, I'm going to get a bit of a name for myself as moaning about this kit. They are Revell paint call outs, therefore they are.
Okay, metallic, 91 steel, metallic.
Yeah, aluminium.
Aluminum. You're right. Yeah, let's have a look.
Aluminum.
I've got enough colours that will cover what they say.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Look, I've done a thing. Done that.
Tiff says, Modders is here, not with it mentally, but I'm here. Bless you, mate. Yeah. Paul says, still didn't get the paint. Junior says, I just got in there before you did. Really, Gary? Chortles childishly. Oh, did you know? Right? Oh, no, I can't do it on this one. If you pay for StreamYard, you can actually have it so the comments actually come up on the are actually on the screen permanently. They like scroll up the screen as they're coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Then it goes
I'm
to
not paying for StreamYard. I'm not paying £30 a month for StreamYard.
Not yet.
Just for that. No, not until I make my millions. June says, Tiff, you're in good company. I don't think any of us are with it mentally. Well, yeah, that's true. Gary says, 2 of my Royal Australian Air Force friends went to school with Kylie Minogue. Ooh.
There you go. My sister
Gary's
went to school with
quiver.
Danny Minogue. Colchester College, but no, she didn't go to school with Kylie. It was a different school.
Yeah. Robert says, people say I'm entering my second childhood. They lie. I've not left the first yet.
Yeah.
Junior says, laugh my ass off, Robert. DP says, hi, Tiff. I'm surprised when Tasha's not been in. No, not Tasha. Tammy.
Right. Oh, yeah, because it's a railway build, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, now I'm a bit stuffed now, John. Are you doing the same as me, looking to see if you can find something to do? Could put the track together.
No, I'm everything, all the color callouts are either A and B. Yeah, everything is either we've got steel, matte black, and aluminium, and that's all. Although I don't know if I trust these because I don't know. Maybe I'll just go off images and stuff. But I'm just writing in a little bit. So yeah, all I've got left is I've got one more wheel on the whichever bogie that is, probably the rear one. And then look for what I can do.
You can skip, from what I can see, you can go to stage 25.
25.
Because everything else is the chassis and the wheels.
Yeah, you're right.
Next to it. So yeah, 25.
Yeah, and you carry on there, and then the tender.
Well, no, you can only do 25, can't you? You can't do 26.
No, but you can. If you don't do 26, you can still jump ahead to say 30, 31.
Yeah, I was just looking at. You could do. I was thinking of maybe doing 32, 33.
Dum, dum, dum. Right.
32, 33. What?
I think what we'll have to do is make sure we paint everything off camera before the next show, and then we can start assembling stuff.
Mm.
If we'd been clever, we would have thought of that beforehand.
I like George.
We start doing the tender.
Yeah.
Say again?
Start working on the tender.
What stage?
32 onwards.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
There we go.
32. Right. Yeah, I'm going to do 32. Of course, when I come to look at this later, I won't have a clue what I've done and where I am.
Jim says, "Good day, Scott. How are you, mate? How is the weather in Taz?" Julian, I'm a bit stuffed now, and I'm the one making innuendos, Mr. Morris.
Innuendo. Oh.
Julian says, "Well, yes. Okay, I am."
Thankfully, they put part 30, printed it on the tender itself. So now, are those bits there, the pointy bits, flash?
Flash?
Gordon's alive!
Yeah, I would say yes, they are.
I suspect it's flash, but...
Yeah, because they're not in state 34.
Look at that. Yeah. Have you got any of that?
I've got all that. Yeah. Those jutty bits, don't belong.
All of that. That's massive. Needs to go.
That's what she said.
Goodbye, Flash. Cleans mouths without scratching.
Robert says, after this, I'm going to continue my 48 Spitfire. Yes, failed miserably. I'm sure he didn't fail. He's 48 weeks instead of 48 hours. Robert says, my excuse hurt my back. That's a good excuse.
Great excuse.
Yes. Bad back's no fun when you're upscale, Molly. Jenny says, Gary, just cross out the stages you've done so the bits left.
Yeah, I just highlight the number because I need to go back and check the paint color call out. So if I cross it out, I'll ignore it altogether. So I'll just highlight the section. And I know I've done it. Yeah.
TBD says, build a chassis up with the wheels, then paint and weather. Yeah.
Jesus, I thought that flash was bad. I've just found a load more on the underside.
Gary says, Gordon's alive. Brian Blessed, famously ex-RF Regiment. Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Doom. Hello!
LWM says, yes, it's Flash. There we go.
Thank you. Oh, blimey.
It's quite a lot of it, isn't
it? I mean, it's an older kit, so you would expect Flash to be on there, but so it was hard to tell initially when I first looked at it whether it was Flash or whether it was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Not knowing much about chuff trains.
Chuffs.
Chuffs. Right, so we need that like that.
TBG like singing. By the look of it.
34. Oh God. 34.
Yeah, TBD singing Flash. Jim says, has Brian Blessed ever appeared in front of camera clean shaven? Wouldn't recognise him anyway.
Huh.
I'm not sure he has.
Didn't he used to be in Z Cars?
I don't know. I don't remember Z Cars. I'm not that old.
What is Z Cars? Is that a series?
Police thing, yeah.
Right.
I'm going to check. Because if he was, he wouldn't have had a beard then, I don't think. Let me Google. Or better still, let's go to the font of everything that is correct.
Well, there you go. David says, yes, he did.
Yeah. I tried to type Brian Blessed and it came out as Brian Bless.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Part 34. I've seen that somewhere.
I'm blessed. Yes, he was in Z Cars. Look at that. He was PC Fancy Smith. There you go.
Yeah. June says, Gary, his voice blessed could have stayed in the mess and just yelled orders. They'd have heard him at the other end of the airfield. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. If you want a picture of Brian Blessed without
Let's have a look.
Without a beard, hang on while I focus.
Yeah, you're upside down as well. There you go. Bloody hell.
Wow.
That one there is Brian. Is the guy himself?
It's very different.
He does, doesn't he? TVG says he did when he went up Everest. He couldn't wear the oxygen mask.
Okay. Well, from what I understand, when he climbed Everest, he didn't use oxygen.
That could be why.
I was not with him. I cannot confirm nor deny.
You can put me back to normal size now, Mikey, if you want.
Yeah. Robert says, stepdaughter ran crying to her mum the first time she saw me without a beard.
Right, so...
Gary says, good day, Mr. Evans. I've added a further comment to your stream Q&A and wasn't sure if you had gone on holiday or still local. Julian says, Gary, he portrayed PC Fancy Smith in Z Cars.
Yeah, yeah.
Robert says she was nearly 18. And Gary says, I remember Z Cars, 1960s. Ooh, that'd be why you don't remember it, John.
No.
Because Gary's
maybe it was just never shown here.
I think it's because Gary's the only one old enough.
We had our own cop shows, like, you know, all the
Skippy.
Yeah.
It's all the Crawford productions.
You had Flipper as well, didn't you? And Round the Twist.
Was Flipper Australian?
No.
No, Flipper was the good old US of A.
Ah.
Right, this is interesting. I must be doing something wrong here.
Oh, it's only Australian because you probably think, yeah, it was a remake done by Paul Hogan, but yeah, no, Flipper's not Australian.
Oh, I've done it. Again, another part that doesn't need any glue.
June says, got that for me, Gary. Wait Rose says, handsome fellow, just like all the regiment, just saying. Jim says, I can recognize the eyes, but he looks so different without beard. Yeah. Wait Rose says, Gary, not leaving until June the 3rd. Tiff says, Mum says,
the Sullivans. I remember the Sullivans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the sons went off to war. Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
Junior says, I'm not even going to mention Gary telling Mikey to put him back to normal size. No. I'm going to resist the temptation.
Oh, stop messing about.
LWM says, the way he bellows, I think Brian Blessed took a deep breath in before climbing Everest and exhaled when he came back down.
And did all 29,000 feet.
Yeah. Julie says, Tiff, I do. Well, repeat anyway. Sandra Clarkson, she says, hello, everyone. I need help. Does anyone know of a 1/24 scale Fokker E1? I want one badly. Ooh, good question.
I don't know of one.
Let me scale mates it.
Yeah,
I'm sure Julian is already on scale mates looking for one now.
Probably. But I don't believe there is one.
You might get a 1/32nd.
Yeah. I've only got the 48 scale one, the Eindecker.
What about? Oh no, they don't. They're not around anymore. And if they are, it'll be really expensive. Wings never did one, did they?
No,
yeah, they did. In 32nd scale, yeah.
32nd was it?
30. So somebody in Australia was selling a SE5A, a Wingnut Wings SE5A. They want 400 Australian dollars for it.
Yeah,
£200. Bloody ridiculous.
£200 of the realm.
There's quite a few that do 1/24th scale ones. Jim says Sandra might be a balsa wood model somewhere. Ah, that's an idea. Gary says he also remembers the Magic Roundabout.
Yeah, Dylan, Dougal, Mr. McTavish.
I don't remember watching that. It was maybe on here. I don't recall ever seeing it.
Hey, I remember Pogle's Wood.
Well,
now if anybody out there can remember Pogle's Wood,
that's what she said.
I will give kudos there.
I'm going to surprise you now, Gary. I can remember Andy Pandy.
Oh, Andy Pandy and Luby Lou.
Lube and subscribe.
Lube and subscribe.
Watch with Mother.
Watch with Mother, yeah. Trumpton, Chigley.
I only remember him because I had a video of him when I was a kid. Has anyone found part 34?
Yes, and I before I lost the power of speech, I was able to install it.
Which frame is it on?
Oh, well, I can't remember now because I've got rid of it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay, so it's the one with the tracks. Then you got a square plate. It's under the square plate.
Of course it is. Thank you.
There you go. Oh, told you.
That's the wheel that's come off. Wheels are coming off. Story of my life, really. June says, my brother climbed one of the Himalayas for charity, Mirror Peak.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Davey said, yes, and Brian the Snail, Gary.
Brian the Snail, yeah. Zebedee, Mr. McHenry.
Sandra says, I remember Pogle's Wood and Ivy the Engine.
Well done, Sandra.
Nice. Let's cut this bit off. Continue.
Pogle's Wood.
Ah, crap.
Honestly, I've not used hardly any glue on this yet.
All right.
Are you complaining?
I've just glued the top of the tender in, and now I have to take it out because step 33, I didn't put in part 36.
Oh, I've just done that. I've just done that.
Idiot.
Well, yeah, but we do want to say it.
33 and 62. Hang on a minute.
There we
Brian
go.
Blessed is bloody good in Henry V, Kenneth Branagh one.
Oh, God. Call chat again. Graham says, just joined. How's the innuendo going? Oh,
yeah.
Robert says, ooh, Magic Roundabout. Ooh, Magic Roundabout. The nuts we used for assembling cable trays were called Zebedees, spring-loaded nuts. Yeah.
Oh.
Gary says the Shackleton AEW of 8 Squadron RAF were all named after Magic Roundabout characters.
They were. Cool. They were. You're quite correct.
Ian says, I have the Wingnut SE5A. Too afraid to build it.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the wings. I want to build it.
So you'll be pleased to know, audience, that I completed the SE5A last night. All that remains now is just a dull coat, which I would have done if I wasn't doing a live stream right now. But
okay,
lovely build.
So it's our fault. You're blaming us.
No, it's not what I said.
Okay. I heard January git. LWM says, I don't remember muffing the mule, but in my defense, I was drunk at the time. I remember muffing the mule.
How can you remember Muffin the Mule and not Pogle's Wood?
Because Muffin the Mule was on Watch with Mother.
Like so was Pogle's Wood.
Yeah, but I didn't. It wasn't on the video that I had.
Oh, on the video. Oh, of course, you didn't watch the reel. You were watching a video, weren't you?
I was watching a video of something from like the last half of the century. Don't forget, it's probably about 20, 30 years before I was born that was on telly.
Okay. You can stop talking now.
Timmy says, so Pogle's Wood left an impression. Did this wood put a smile on your face, Gary?
Oh, you know it did.
Oh, Gary says, how about the Wooden Tops? Yeah, that was on Watch with Mother as well, wasn't it?
Spotty Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spotty Dog, the Wooden Tops. Mary Mungo and Midge.
All right.
Duke says, Gary Zebedee.
Must be all bands because I don't know any of them.
Robert says, Muffin the Mule retired to a museum in Budleigh, Salterton.
I love that name of that place.
Mother worked for. There you go. Sorry?
I would love to live in Budleigh, Salterton because I think it's a fantastic name.
There you go. Waitrose says, I remember Noggin the Nog and Nogbad the Bad.
Nogbad the Bad, yeah.
I remember, Julie says, I remember Bill and Ben outtake. Weed was pregnant. Bill pulled a rubber from a flower pot and shook his head, flobber lobber lob. IOW, it ain't mine, pal. In other words, it ain't mine, pal. David says, they were talking about redoing Ivor the Engine in new media. Yeah, they were actually. Jim says, my memories of British television go back to the early 70s, the goodies, John Pertwee as Doctor Who, etc.
The best Doctor Who there ever was.
So, yeah, my daughters really got into the goodies. I bought it on DVD. They loved it. They just think it was so funny.
I've never really got into Doctor Who.
I used to love watching Doctor Who when John Pertwee was the Doctor. But soon after.
I watched a few when it was David Tennant, but that's only because my dad had it on the telly.
There we go. Finally got that in. That's what she should.
TBG says bag puss. Well, he actually says bug puss, which sounds so weird.
And when Bagpuss went to sleep, all of Bagpuss's friends went to sleep. Hector's house.
Yeah. TBG says, I did an Airfix AW Shack as Ermintrude.
Cool.
Ermintrude the cow.
Somebody gifted me a TBG membership a few hours ago.
Ooh.
Whoever that was, thank you very much. A surprise.
I was just thinking, as my Shackleton that is hanging from the ceiling, has that got a magic roundabout name on it? No.
That light that goes into the back of the tender, that should probably be painted as well before it goes on.
Well,
I could probably do that with a pen.
Yeah. Or an LED.
Well, late now. I've just sealed it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Another example of Mikey having a good idea after the fact.
Yes. If I want to do that, I'll get another set. I don't
think I could see myself getting another one of these.
Well, we are getting more Dapple trains. Grace says, anyone mentioned Bagpuss? Yes. Julian says, is Muffin the Mule essay? An S offence?
Not anymore.
Sandra says, I love the clangers.
Yeah. And the soup dragon.
Robert says, Fokker Eindecker built the Peter Rake 36-inch electric flyer. My piloting skills weren't up to it. Rekitted very quickly.
Right. That would be difficult to fly, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Because the actual one was, from what I read.
The Eindecker.
TBG says, "Yep, Graham." And Graham says, "Sorry, TBG, you got there first." Graham says, "TBG, I have a DVD of Bagpuss and Ivor the Engine and the first series of the Clangers." Oh.
Remember Fingerbobs?
Graham says, "Hey."
There used to be a thing on ITV, I think it was called Fingerbobs.
That sounds so wrong.
It well, it wasn't.
Sure, it was BBC. It sounds like something they'd come out with.
Yeah.
Especially during the 60s and 70s.
It was Fingermouse, and
you're not making this any better, Gary.
It was called Fingerbobs.
Anyway, Graham says, "Sorry, TVG got there first." TVG says, "This stream's like an episode of Bill and Ben, so who's weed?" That's Modders, isn't it? She's the one that keeps us in check. Robert says, "And I have a Bessie, not one that was used on screen, but still." Ooh. Oh, Bessie. There we go. That's cool.
This roof bit of the tender.
Yeah, I had a bit of trouble trying to get it to fit.
I'm just trying to see how it. Still bloody flash around there.
So much bloody flash. Whinge, whinge, whinge. Tell you what, train I've always wanted, model I've always built. I've wanted to build one for Thomas the Tank. But the problem is, because it can be made into Thomas the Tank, the kit's always more expensive than other kits, train kits.
Okay.
Aaronville says, "Think Rapido are doing a 00 Ivor the Engine Railway set, but with cardboard figures." Oh, cool. Sandra says, "My first Doctor Who was John Pertwee, but best of all time was Tom Baker."
You really think? Would you like a jelly baby?
Gary says, "Boing, time for bed." Jasper Carrot did his version of the Magic Roundabout.
Oh, no, that was very good.
I like Jasper Carrot. I remember watching him when I was when I'd stay over at my nan and granddad's.
He used to do Carrot Confidential.
Met him as well. He's a nice guy.
He is.
And Alistair McGowan. They were staying at a hotel.
There you go. It's just dropped in there now.
TVG says, "I did laugh out loud." I'm not even going to go for that one. It's too obvious. Robert says, "Hindsight is 2020." June says, "Favorite Magic Roundabout joke." Boing, said Zebedee. "Get her off," said Florence. Laugh out loud. There we go. ACF says, "I remember Fingerbobs."
Thank you.
Gary says, "Got the Revell Shack AEW. Don't know which name it has. Do have a full decal sheet with all the names." That's cool.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Tiff says her mum remembers, Gary.
Thank you. I feel exonerated. Thank you, Tiff's mum.
Yes, Robert says the bald bloke.
Yeah, he was a bald bloke with cardboard finger puppets and very long hair and a beard. It was a bit of a...
Hang on a minute. A bald bloke with long hair and a beard.
A long beard. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
I was say, what the hell?
He was very much of the hippie ilk, I think.
Bill Bailey is sort of like long hair and bald, isn't he?
No. Yeah, well, he's bald now, isn't he? Pretty much.
Yeah.
David says, "Yes, I remember that, Gary."
See.
Waitrose says,
"There you go."
Finger Mouse was a paper mouse puppet on the narrator's index finger. Oh, dear. June says, "Finger Bobs, it was a mouse puppet on someone's finger, which doesn't really sound any better." No. Sandra says, "Camberwick Green, Hector's house, the Herbs, Pinky and Perky." I remember Pinky and Perky. We used to have an LP with that, man. Torchy the Battery Boy, Trumpton, Chigley, Howe, Bod, Cat Weasel, Finger Bob's, Michael Bentine's Potty Time.
Michael Bentine's Potty Time was brilliant.
So the only one I recognise in that list is Cat Weasel. I don't. It was on before the goodies, but I don't remember watching. See, yeah, TV back in the 70s on ABC, Australian Broadcast Commission, would go from Cat Weasel to the goodies to Doctor Who.
There is the one and only Finger Mouse.
Oh, I've seen that before.
Okay. There's a jet going over somewhere.
Not me.
Going down. We're going down the estuary because they follow the coastline.
Let's have a look. I'll tell you where it is.
ACF says. Nagit says another one I remember is the Flumps.
The Flumps. Yeah.
Do you know what? I think some of these parts I'm just going to blue tack on for now because even the ladders on the side of the tender need to be painted underneath. The tender needs to be painted underneath.
I'm going to wing it. I've glued mine on now.
Yeah, no, that'll be fine because it's black on black.
The song, isn't it?
Back to Black, you're thinking of. The late great. Thing that I've forgotten who her name is.
Do you know what? I was watching
Amy Winehouse.
I was watching Count Dankula last night, and there's a video about Count Dankula. It's a guy that does YouTube videos about some about disasters and stuff like that.
All right, cheerful stuff then.
Yeah, but he presents it really well, and he's doing one all about all the so-called offensive things that Prince Philip said over the years.
Oh yes,
and some of them were bloody hilarious.
People just didn't get Prince Philip's sense of humour. That's the problem.
Well, that's the thing. And somebody said to him once, didn't they? Asked him about it, and he said, "Well, if you think about it, I meet thousands of people, he said, and they're all nervous about meeting me." He said, "So the only way to get them to talk and relax is to say something silly."
That makes sense. Yeah.
He said, and otherwise, I'm just going to be going, "Hi, how are you?" hundreds of times.
I used to love watching Mock the Week with Hugh Dennis used to do the voiceover for visits like that.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Yeah. But he comes out with some really funny stuff, doesn't he?
Oh, that is why there's something wrong there.
Tiff says, I tried to keep you in check, but only when I have StreamYard control. Jim says, Tom Baker played Rasputin in the 1970s film Nicholas and Alexandra. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen him now? I've seen pictures of Tom Baker now.
No.
He's extremely thin and gaunt, and yeah.
It's called exercise, Gary.
No, I think I don't think he's very well. Jasper Carrot mole hunting, says Robert Harris. Yeah, there's only one way to kill a mole. Blow its bloody head off.
June says, yes, agreed, Sandra. Tom Baker was awesome as Doctor Who. He was a Redbeard in Blackadder too.
He was.
Ian says, my brother loved Jasper Carrot's funky moped song.
Yeah. Of which the B-side was Magic Roundabout.
There we go. TVD says, just check the shacks. Mine's Zebedee. There we go. Joe says, 28 people watching. Go on.
Sorry. Did you know that Jasper Carrot's Funky Moped only did so well in the charts because people bought it for the B-side?
Right, okay.
Okay. One tender built.
What the deuce?
Yeah, it does go. It takes a little bit of
persuasion.
Yeah. and then all of a sudden it just goes. That's what
Would you believe it? Step 36.
You put it on upside down.
I'll put it on backwards. Yeah.
Ah!
Dun, 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 dun. Hey.
Yeah, I have to swap these bits over. You know, because these are. Oh my god, is that going to come off?
Joe says 28 people watching. Am I on the correct stream? It's 23 now since we said that. We scared them off. Don't worry, Joe. We're back. We'll be back to the usual.
That's all right. 5 of them were obviously waiting for John to put something on upside down, and now that he's done that, they've gone.
Yeah, they've gone. These idiots don't know anything about trains. We're like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I might have said right at the beginning, I don't know nothing about trains.
I don't know nothing about trains. I
don't know nothing about trains. I don't know.
Yeah, we just enjoy making models.
You're not from round here, are you?
No. You're not local, are you? This is a local shop for local people. TBG says, Bod.
Bod, yeah, Bod.
Ozzy says, I agree with Gary. Pertwee was the best Doctor. Even as an 8-year-old, I thought Tom Baker was too childish.
I don't know whether I'd say Tom Baker was too childish. I think John Pertwee played the part with just the right amount of eccentricity, and Tom Baker probably went a little bit too far.
Well, you're just complaining again, aren't you?
No, I'm just critiquing.
Yeah, you're just a whingy bastard.
There we go. That's better. 29. I think this is going to have half the parts on it before we go into the next episode.
Yeah. We've got 7 minutes left.
Oh, I better get through the chat then. Ian says, my cat's surname is Flump. I played it theme tune and cat ran away.
Oh.
Nugget says, laugh out loud, Ian. Julian says, I never saw Michael Bentine, but I know the other side.
Now, I have met Michael Bentine because he was very interested in, I believe he was ex-RAF anyway, but he was very interested in haunted air traffic control towers. And I was working one Saturday at the tower at Scampton while the Reds were displaying somewhere. And he came round on a visit, and apparently our tower was supposed to be haunted.
Yeah, I like watching videos about stuff like
that. Yeah.
Aaronville says, my friend's dad, Spencer Chapman, was a production set designer on the original black and white Doctor Who series at the BBC. He worked on 10 episodes between 1964 and 65 and filmed Dalek Invasion Earth.
There you go.
Robert says, Los Bravos, covered by La Belle Epoque or something. David says, I think the Tom Baker Doctor stuck on Earth was not the best series. Wait Rose says, mail call logistics has delivered package from Bob Harris, including stuff to be sent on. Ooh.
Oh.
I know what's getting sent on. A Lancaster for me and a Virago motorbike for Julian.
Mind you,
says, let's not forget. Yeah. Yes. Come on, out with it.
Forget it. It's gone. Senility has took over.
There we go. Jim says, let's not forget Pertwee's Doctor Who foil Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. There we go. David, at the visit to the BAOR at Dortmund of the Queen, the artillery parade, the Duke looked at my tracked rapier and back to me and said, Doctor Who, and smiled, walking after the Queen. Laugh out loud, my launcher. There we go. And he said, David, it was Davros. Oh, David says it was named Davros, his rapier launcher.
Right. I see.
Robert says, apologies to Stuffed Gary. Didn't know if you were in the loop with distribution scheme. Oh, yeah, he was, mate. I told him, don't worry. Revell says, I helped Spencer Chapman, production designer, on his last film, In Love with Al McCogan, at Cromer in Norfolk. I met Neve Cusack, Roger Lloyd Pack, Trigger, and John Hurt that year, 2012. Wow.
Yeah. Al McCogan was the sister of Anita Harris.
Waitrose says, Robert, all good, mate. Got forward instructions already. Thanks for little Nelly. Yeah. And Tiff says, you may struggle with the chrome a little on the Virago, Julian. Just persevere. Well, this is the thing. It's a learning experience, isn't it? That's the whole point.
I tried to do the Virago a few years ago and gave up on it.
Yeah?
That's just lack of moral fibre.
No, it was for my own sanity.
Yeah, lack of moral fibre.
Right.
Everything just pretty much clicks in, doesn't it?
I know. It's, in that respect, it's
it is a starter set.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mine's not.
Is it not?
No.
No, I'm wrong.
Skill level 3.
No, okay. No,
John
I
got
was
the starter,
confused.
didn't he?
No, I was confused because it came with that on top of it. So,
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's not. Did yours have the paint and?
No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
We got the older release. It's because we got the older release of it, I think.
Yeah. It was like, yeah, as you see it, like that.
Yeah. Well, as you can see, or as you will be able to see very shortly, the box itself was literally that.
Yeah. Arvel says, thanks for this regular stream, like a model club night every time with you all. I appreciate that, buddy. That's what we're going for.
The idea behind it.
Yeah. Julie says, Tom Baker was an Angelman syndrome. No, Angelman syndrome. He also has gout, scoliosis, a pachyonychia congenita, rare skin disorder, thickened nails, painful plantar keratoderma, and other skin and oral abnormalities.
I'm glad you were reading that. Yeah, he's not a well man, I don't think. Still active, I think.
Congenita. That's it. Oop, pressed by accident. Waitrose says, Mr. Morris, all Revell kits of this type start at skill level 3. Level 1 is for click together.
Okay, I consider myself put in my place.
Dieter says, posted a photo of my big boy on... Oh, that sounds so wrong.
Oh, dear.
It's not that sort of Discord, Dieter.
Freaking hell. That cutting mat is A3 size and it's still... That's not helping, Dieter. Gary, your head bobbing up and down behind the messages doesn't help either. Stu says, thanks, Tim. I'm sure I'll come to you all for advice before I cock it up. D says, correct skill level 1 is snap tight. Now click and go. And he says, skill level 2 is starter sets. Skill level 3, regular and small part counts, sets, and the majority of the kits. Yes, there we go.
Well, that's it. So I have to glue one of the wheels on the tender because it won't stay in. So apart from that, that's all gone together pretty well.
I think it's going to look all right when it's done.
Yeah, I haven't done the wheels on the tender.
No, I'm going to glue all the wheels because they just rattle around and pop out, and I'll just glue them.
I did the front of the actual locomotive itself, but and the bell is on there, but not a lot else. And I've done 2 sets of bogies.
I've not done them because I want to paint them first.
Yeah, I'm going to.
You're not going to see them.
I will play around with them, but I'll probably get most of that primed over the next couple of days.
Yeah. Well, I tend to do it on the day of the stream, so that way then I'm not playing catch up all week.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's the hour.
Yeah. Dieter says skill level 4, more demanding kits and over 100 to 200 parts. Skill level 5, expert level and 200 parts. Jim says, tell us more, Dieter, but you don't have to brag. Jim says, by the way, the Angelman syndrome is learning difficulties. Ah.
All right.
Ian says, excellent show, folks. Looking forward to the Hawk Sea Fury tomorrow. Yeah.
So am I.
So we.
So am I.
Jim says, be seeing you all tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Jim.
Dieter, haha, Jim, I realized my post would bring about confusion, but they don't have to size me up for it. Oh dear. Graham says, bloody hell, Dieter, that's huge. Oh, that's not helping, Graham.
That's what you said.
Robert says, flashback to Red Dwarf and a 2 Polaroid photo. Yeah, that was funny, that. Tiff says, oh, just so you know, the XP is the experimental and only select channels get it for now. You're special, Mikey. Oh, thank you.
All right.
Special Mikey.
Dieter says, Graham, like John's ship, it's a small one from the front. Dieter says, no. David says, wonderful 2 hours waiting for tomorrow's now. New intro for tomorrow as well. I was doing that last night. Trina says, no, I'm not a medical textbook. I looked up Tom Baker's conditions. There we go. And Aaronville says, great, thanks. We'll see you all again. Excellent. Yeah. Right. That was a lot of comments. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's going to be pretty simple build and pretty quick build. But again, I think it comes down to the painting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's nice.
And it will be quite a long build.
Yeah. We've got to do you got to paint all the tracks and everything. The sleepers.
Yeah, that would take a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, if we prime it all and stuff off screen, paint the wheels and stuff like that, and then all the details and stuff is what we'll be doing on camera. And
yeah.
Cool.
No, it's
right.
It's going together pretty well. No real.
David says, yeah.
There's all these self-detaching parts from the sprue that are worrying me.
Yeah, I haven't had that at all.
I'm going to put them in a little jar.
Yeah, I need to find somewhere to put them in. Yeah, I think it's going to be all right.
Oh yeah, it'd be fine. I know what I can use.
There we go.
Oh, a little empty jar.
Oh, I've got a little plastic Tupperware tub somewhere. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right. We're back tomorrow, 12 o'clock, with Sea Fury and Waitrose.
Sea Fury, Waitrose, and lots more double entendres, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. See you all tomorrow, everyone.
Have a wonderful Thursday afternoon. See you later.
Ta-da.
Stay dry.